All right, so this is day 5. I already trained some earlier today, but it was miserably cold and it was snowing, and then the sun came out, and I thought, man, I think I'll do a little bit more time with these Mustangs today. It just felt like a good day to do it. So I left my flag over there, so I grabbed this. Not a huge fan of this tool, um, but we'll see how it works. I may have to go grab the flag, but I'm going to try a different tool today and see how this goes. I like the focus that I'm getting. She's pretty well set up for both directions. I'm going to go ahead and ask her to go left. She's a little bit more set up to go right. But I love that her head's coming down a little bit. You can really tell all the work we did earlier is really paying off right here. She's much more focused, much less reactive, much less standoffish, less blocking me out. And she goes the correct direction. Good. It's kind of cool to see her coat glistening. It's like sparkling from the little bit of snow we just had. It's kind of melting on her back. Now notice how nice and low her head is as she's going around. That's beautiful right there. I'm going to ask her to stop. And as we've seen a few times, she speeds up through that stop. Now, I want to talk about that for a second, that speeding up through the stop. If you're riding her, like if I was to go ahead and cowboy up, catch her, which I'm sure I could do, and get the saddle on her and just get on her and start riding, that bolt right there would still be in there. So what I'm talking about is right here, right over on this side. I asked her to stop, and she got a little freaked out. She didn't quite know what to do. I think she knew to stop, but her first reaction was speed up and try to run through it. Well, if that's her initial reaction with how to deal with problems, when I'm sitting on her back, she's going to think that the way to deal with that problem is try to run away from it. Now, if I'm strapped to her back, hopefully I'm not going to fall off. So she's never going to get away from that, and she's just going to run herself and run herself and run herself until she runs herself out. And, a lot of people will break a horse that way. I don't break horses that way. I don't think that's very smart. I want to teach her on the ground to shut it down, come to a stop, focus, figure out the problem, and go where she needs to go. And that's what she figured out over here. I asked her to go in the new direction. She went faster. Then she slowed down and said, wait, faster is not the answer. Let me look for a different answer. Good. I'm just barely having to use my tool here. The cue is getting her to go. She just needs a little bit of backup from the lunge whip or the flag or whatever you happen to be carrying. Really like how she's going around right here. You can see her body's in that nice C shape. What I mean by the C shape is her hips are a little bit to the inside, her shoulders a little to the outside, and her face is nice and curved to the inside. She's got that ear focused on me, head's below her withers. It's really cool to see the transformation. Good. Really cool to see the transformation just from this morning. And, I think the weather has helped us out a little bit with that too, to make this transformation really dramatic, because it was a pretty nasty day earlier. Windy, cold, snowy, and all of a sudden the sun came out, the wind quit, it got warm, and their attitudes, I think, changed a lot. And we're going to use that to our advantage to help her see wrong thing hard, right thing easy. Love how she's checking in. I'm going to go ahead and stop her. Good. Now she overcorrected that time, so I'm going to send her back to the left. Good. Okay, I'm going to ask her to stop. Good. She overcorrected. I'm going to send her back to the left again. Pretty soon she'll realize overcorrecting really doesn't help her, because she just has to go right back to work. Ask her to stop. There. Much better. She tried that twice. She thought, oh, every time you ask me to stop, you're going to ask me to go the other way. I'll just preemptively go the other way. I said, no, that's not how this works. Now, I didn't get mad at her, right? Because she's looking for the answer, and I love that. I want to reward her looking for the answer. But I just said, no, going the other way, you're just going to have to go back this way. And finally, she faced up and said, I'm ready to go whichever direction you tell me to go. I love it. Okay, she's a little bit set up for going left, so I'm going to ask her to go right. She starts to think, going the wrong way, and she turns her butt to me. So a little bit of pressure here. That was a tough one right there. And she overcorrects and goes the wrong way. I'm gonna ask her to go here. So she thinks that she's got the game figured out now, and she thinks she can play the game without having to focus on me. She thinks that she can block me out, and she's got enough of the cues figured out that she can play the game. What she doesn't realize is she doesn't. The game is focusing on me and being ready, because I'm just going to change the game, or I'm going to change what I ask her to do every time if she overcorrects or tries to preemptively anticipate what I'm going to ask. I'm just going to ask something different. She got a little too much in my space that time, so I kind of just brought the stick up just a little bit and say, hey, get out of my space. Don't run over me. Better. Ooh, I like that. This is night and day different than it was just about 2 hours ago. It's very cool to see how quickly she's coming along. And it's probably all thanks to Stephanie. You know, she's probably already done a lot of the difficult work on this, and I'm just kind of reestablishing myself, you know, with the same authority that Stephanie had probably already set up. So, you know, I'm not trying to say that, oh, look at me, look how fast I can get this groundwork done. Okay, so she's in that unstable state now. There's some good blinking. Remember, we've talked about it before, but the unstable state is when all 4 feet are on the ground, planted, and they're looking at you. She's very focused, right? She would be ready to go either direction I told her to go, but she's not relaxed yet. Okay, that's kind of the definition of the unstable state. Now, she's not going to stay in this mental state forever, right? She's either going to choose to walk away. That's rebalancing. That's good. That's part of that unstable state. Is a lot of times they're going to be physically unbalanced. They're going to balance themselves up physically. That's what she started to do there. And she's either going to choose a coping mechanism like walking away, or she's going to choose relaxation. And it's up to her. Just like me with my wife, I can't tell my wife, relax right now. It doesn't work very well, right? If you're married, you know that. But what I can tell this horse, or I can put this horse in a situation where we eliminate options. And if we leave open an option of relaxing, she might choose to relax. And then if we reward that relax over and over, she'll find that relaxation easier and more often, and we can build on that. But I just have to wait until she finds that relaxation. Good. Look at how she rebalanced her body. Look how much more balanced her body is right there than it was 15 seconds ago. Excellent. Tons of twitching in the bottom lip and in the nostrils. She's going to lick and chew pretty quick. It may be a while. I mean, she's a horse that takes a long time to lick and chew. And sometimes those make the best horses. They're very stoic. They're a little stubborn. But they can make the best horses, but it does take a long time. It takes a lot of patience. You just have to stand here and wait. There's a lot of blinking going on, a lot of twitching. Kind of the rule of thumb is if you see twitching in the muzzle, just wait. Even if their focus leaves. Like if her feet leave, put her back to work. But if her focus leaves, it's going to come back, or her feet are going to leave, and then you'll put her back to work. But if you see twitching, just wait for the lick and chew, assuming their feet stay still. I love how her head's starting to come down. Love how she's kind of going to sleep. She's blinking a lot. Bottom lip's twitching a ton. It's starting to hang down lower than her top lip a little bit. This is really good. She's starting to actually get comfortable with me in here. Starting to trust that all she needs to pay attention to is if I ask her to do something. Right there, she got a little distracted. She went into alert mode. Her brain said, alert, alert. And she looks over at something, and then she goes, no, I don't need to. Remember earlier today, I think it got on video, or definitely the last couple days, I think the video where we were in the stall, I think there was a good example of this. Her brain had her on alert about 99% of the time. And about 1% of the time, the other side of her brain took over and she was able to lower her head, relax, but then it popped right back into alert, right? It lasted just a fraction of a second, that relaxation and drop in her head. Now, if you look at her, she's not completely relaxed, but she's staying in this non-alert stage, I'd say 75% of the time, maybe 99% of the time. When she alerted a second ago, it only lasted a second or two, and she came right back to this non-alert mode. Really cool. I think it's off video, but Braveheart's over there doing a bunch of big sighs and licks and chews and hanging his head low. You almost have two horses that are on opposite ends of the spectrum. You got Taya, who's too reactive and too scared and, too flighty. And then you got Braveheart, who's almost the exact opposite. He's too dull, not reactive enough. You can barely get him to move. But like I've said the whole time, horses are all about balancing. It really doesn't matter what side of any issue the horse is imbalanced to. The job of the trainer and a rider and anyone who's going to interact with that horse, their job is to just balance it up. So as you can see, Taya here is, she might lick and chew pretty quick. Good. There's a nice lick and chew. What I was going to say is Taya's almost going to sleep before she licks and chews. And I was going to talk about that for a second. This is kind of just a theory. I have not proven this scientifically or read about it anywhere in any studies, but just from observation and logic, I would say when a horse goes to sleep like that before licking and chewing, what it tells me is they're probably not getting very good sleep at night. They're going into a nap phase and getting sleep, but they're not truly relaxed while they're sleeping. And so I believe that when you finally get a horse, which she's almost there, to where they learn to relax and let go and lick and chew without having to go into that sleep mode first, you're going to get a horse that sleeps a lot better at night, right? And if they're sleeping better at night, we know from human research, and I'm pretty sure horses are the same way, that when a horse is sleeping better, they're going to retain information better. Their brain is able to learn. Not only is their brain able to learn things, it's also able to erase things. So, every Mustang out there has had a traumatic past by definition of being a Mustang, partly from the wild, but also from, I'm going to go ahead and move this down to Braveheart's pen. Partly from being in the wild, but especially from being rounded up with a helicopter, usually put into pens, put into working pens, run through chutes, they get their shots and stuff. That's a traumatic experience for a horse. And they need to be able to delete those memories, right? They have some pretty bad, harsh memories associated with humans that they need to be able to delete. And then they need to be able to rewrite good memories. All of that happens during sleep. And if your horse is not getting good sleep, they're not able to do all that stuff. And so I believe, like, we just got to the point maybe today where Taya might get some really good sleep tonight. She's at that point. Probably next couple days, we'll really get to that point where she'll get good sleep. And I think we'll see a pretty monumental shift in her in the next couple days because of that. So just something to keep in mind. One thing that I've been wanting to do that I have not yet is buy a heart rate and sleep monitor for horses that I can put on these horses and study this and actually, document what I do with them during the day and then how they sleep at night, and see if I can document any changes in that, because right now it's just a theory. So, all right, changing gears to Braveheart. So this horse, it's much more about that dominance issue, showing him, hey, you need to do what I tell you to do when I tell you to do it. He's set up sort of to go left, not really to go anywhere. I'm going to go ahead and send him to the right. Ask, bring up my energy, and he turned his butt to me, which it already sort of was. I'm going to get him to move off. Okay. Much better, by the way, than earlier. Even when that whip kind of lightly tapped his butt there, he moved away from the pressure. He didn't get mad about the pressure. Much better than before. All right. He didn't really take that stop cue very well. He stopped, but he didn't roll through. That was much better too. Now he's trying to get stuck in that corner, so I'm going to put some more pressure on here. A little bit of attitude there. Not the end of the world. One lesson I've learned in the past is in this size of a pen. I love working in this size of pen, but there's not a lot of room. And so it really forces me, so the lesson I learned is if I get too big too quick, the horses don't have anywhere to go and they shut down. And then I have to get bigger and I end up just whapping on horses, just beating on them and trying to get them to move, and they just get stuck in corners and shut down. And what I learned is if I stay much smaller, I can get a bigger reaction out of the horse with just a small, like right here. See, by staying small and never even touching that horse, I got him to do what I needed him to do. And I save that bigger push if I really, really need it. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it's just something that I've learned through experience. And it's been a good learning lesson for me, because the smaller you stay with your cues, but as long as you still get the same response, the better. We want, especially once we get to riding, but we want our horses to be responsive to as small a cue as possible from us and as least responsive to other stimulus in the world as possible. Good. I like how he got out of the way. He's kind of cut in the corner over here, falling in on me, slowing down. I want him to get off of that pressure a little bit. That was much better. Offer him the stop. most horses, I would be happy for them to be walking because most horses are running around crazy at the trot. With him, good, I like how he's setting himself up there. With him, I'm going to kind of keep him trotting today at least, because he tends to just die and get real dull. And when he's in the trot, I know it's forcing him to put a lot of energy into it. When he's at the walk, he's able to dissociate and kind of forget about me and say, whatever. You see how he doesn't like it also, and that's partly why I'm doing it. So the big thing I'm after right now is when he stops, I need him to face up, but the reason the reason that I'm going to give him to face up is that it'll be easier for him to come through the next direction. So I need him to be snappier going the next direction, but it's not just so that he'll be snappy, it's so that he'll face up better there. I'm trying to help him learn how to not create problems for himself, because the way he's stopping right now is creating a problem for himself. He doesn't know it yet. That was a little bit better. His stop was better, but then he was super lazy coming through. He's like, well, I'm already set up. Why do I need to put any energy into it? We are making progress. That was snappier. Now, there was also some anxiety associated with it. Remember, I said we have to, we're going to have to give up a little bit of the relaxation to get the focus and the snappiness and the obedience, if you will. And then the relaxation will come back after that. Better. Ooh, now that's a change right there. It wasn't quite the body configuration that I want. I want him to end up in that spot by disengaging the hind end. But right now, again, that's just details. We're not going to get wound up in details just yet. What I want him to learn is that if he'll get faced up and be ready to go both directions, it'll be a lot easier. And then later on, I can tweak exactly how he faces up. But for now, that was really good. Now, going left should be easier for him. And it was. Good. And he totally didn't catch that. So I put quite a bit more pressure because he turned his butt to me. Now what I did like is this stud horse over here that was messing with him earlier and causing him to jump on top of me. Patron did the same thing, took the same action, but Braveheart wasn't nearly as bad as before. Before, he'd kind of jumped on top of me and kind of got into my space, right? This time he stayed over there. You could tell he was a little concerned about it, but he dealt with that concern over there and didn't try to jump on top of me. So I really liked that. Asked for the stop. He stopped good. He didn't exactly. More pressure. He stopped good, but he decided to turn his butt. So he was working pretty good when he was relaxed, right? But we asked for that little bit more, and the relaxation went away. He got anxiety, and now he's turning his butt, and we broke everything, right? Creative destruction. We have to break things to get good. So he's going to figure out pretty quick here that There. Now look at that. Okay, if you watch that back, or maybe you caught it that time, he moved because the stud horse came up. And when I pointed the opposite direction, he said, oh, let me forget about what I want to do. I know I need to do what he told me to do. That was good. That stop earlier that I was talking about, he actually stepped over with that inside hind foot. If you look at his left hind foot during that stop that he just did earlier, it actually stepped under him a little bit. Now he kind of almost tripped on it. It wasn't very loose. It wasn't very good, but it was something at least. Okay, at least something to build on. That was not very good at all. He didn't really come to a stop. He wasn't set up. He's blocking me out. I asked for the other direction, and he just turned around and went went towards the fence. So he had lots of pressure. It's no big deal. He started to stop pretty good on that side, and he's starting to come through pretty good. It took very little effort from me to get a nice big reaction from him. That was quite good. This is his bad side. Ooh, that was a little bit better. Now he overcorrected, but he's really thinking, look at him licking and chewing there. He's like, how can I make this easier on myself? I really like that. I could send him either direction here because he is overcorrected. I think we talked about this earlier. I want to reward him for at least trying. He overdid it, but he tried, so I want to reward that. But I also want to send him the opposite direction the way he's set up. So you have kind of two competing training philosophies or principles here. I'm going to center myself up in the pen a little bit, give him a fair shot, and I'm going to go ahead and send him left. I think he's going to have a hard time with this. See, he wants to go right. I knew he would. And then he turns his butt to me. So isn't that crazy? He was set up to go left, but something about it, I could feel he wasn't going to go that direction. And I asked him to go, and he went 270 degrees all the way around the other direction just to avoid going the way he was already set up to go. That was floaty. That was pretty cool. Totally missed that, but he turned to correct. So that was kind of a make the right thing easy moment. Totally missed that stop, but he came through his turn good. Just like with Taya, this is such a huge improvement from earlier, in the sense that he's going, when I say go, with very little hesitation, with very little encouragement from me. He's not getting stuck in corners. He's not throwing his head near like he was earlier. He holds his head a little weird. I don't particularly like the way he holds his head, and I do wonder if that's some pain or some sort of chiropractic or massage issue or something like that. I don't know. It may just be just body work, just stuff we need to work through in the way he carries himself, and we need to loosen things up. But he's just playing ball way better than he was. See, like right there, he thinks through it. He doesn't get mad. He thinks through it. That's beautiful. There's a lick and a chew. He's like, oh, that worked. I just thought through it and nothing bad happened. Now that was a little bit tough for him because he was thinking about Patron. And I knew he was thinking about Patron. And so when I asked him to stop, he didn't catch it because he was looking over there. Same thing right here. He caught that better. And so then by the time he realized that I was asking him to stop, I was already asking him to go the other direction, and it freaked him out and he had to turn towards the fence. So this is all getting him to learn to focus on me, not the other things out there. And this is what's going to help you stay safe. If you're riding out there and you see a big old moose or a bear or a mountain lion or something, he may be scared of it, and rightfully so. I would be. but he needs to continue listening to you for his directions, even when he's scared about something, and not get so totally focused on the thing that's scaring him that he forgets to react to the human cues. So this is going to directly keep you safe out there. That was good. I want you to watch that back. Look at that inside left hind foot. He stepped over. Now, it wasn't perfect. It wasn't a ton. Eventually, I'd like a lot more. I'd like him to step through and actually face up. But again, reward the try. That was pretty cool. Now, he's been working so good for me. I think I'm going to wait right here for a lick and a chew, which probably will come pretty quick with him. He's pretty free with those licks and chews, especially compared to Taya, compared to some of the other horses I've trained over the years. And I'm kind of just rewarding him for really trying hard. He's tried hard this session, and he has improved a significant amount this session. And you can see that head starting to come down a little bit. There's licking and chew. That's a good day right there. Got a lot more done today than I thought we would. Very, very cool. All right, so that really is the end of day 5. Not the fake end like it was earlier. I will see you guys tomorrow on day 6.